take your screenshots and say grace, because this is the first video I'm doing during the daytime, which is a lot more convenient because I'm not on the verge of slumping over and immediately going into REM sleep, which makes me a lot more energetic in these videos, which is a lot more fun for both me and you. But all that aside, here's the reason I'm making this video. I am very excited to do my vinyl collection because I've made the life-changing decision to stop spending money and start saving money. Now, I'm gonna give you a glimpse at my net worth here because it's just laying on my bedroom floor. So as you can see, I'm a bit short. This in particular went through the washer a couple times, so I'm kind of scared to hand this to a cashier now because it's all purple. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I can now do a vinyl collection video without having to worry about doing update after update, even though that wouldn't matter because I do haul videos. I'm just gonna get into it. Here's my vinyl collection. Here's what I keep them in. I'll push this back. I don't know why this is all. Okay, let's just try to do one thing. Okay, I'm not. Okay. Oh. Oh, damn. Yeah, this crate's heavy. I think I just crushed my pelvis, but that's a tomorrow problem. Here's what I have so far. That's my little fragrance. What's it called? A fragrance satchel? Fragrance sachets. There we go. I got this from Dollar Tree, and it makes my records smell like a church seats. Like, you know, when you walk into a church and the smell of the wooden seats and like the thing that you place down and kneel on, that's what this smells like. That's the only reason I would go to church, for the smell. It smells great. It makes your records, it makes it smell like an old antique store, which I love. So I'm gonna start from the back here. Here's Eden, the musical elephant. So for his safety, I'm gonna put him like here. And oh damn, thunder thighs. Okay, here's Bob James, Touchdown. Really nice, smooth jazz, kind of fusion-y record. Especially I recommend listening to the title track called Touchdown. It's just really, it's kind of ear candy. Like, it just sounds nice. Really recommend this album if you like jazz, or really just any music for that matter. It's not very far out type stuff, so yeah, that. Here's iRobot by the Alan Parsons Project. My dad was hesitant to get this for me because he doesn't like Alan Parsons Project. I showed him this album and I was like, can I get this? And he was like, and then he started frantically looking around for a better album. He also doesn't like Pink Floyd, so I guess he just doesn't have an attention span if you put two and two together. But here's Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. I don't know what this red streak down it is. I swear it didn't have this when I bought it because I wouldn't have bought it if I saw it. I don't know. I got home and it just had this on here, but now I guess I kind of have to live with it because I paid $8, and then I went back to that same store later and it was $2 without the red mark. So that's gonna be one of those things that's gonna haunt me, I guess. Here's Carole King, Tapestry. Love the kitty. I really love her cover of Smackwater Jack on here. Great album. Here we're gonna get a little jazzy. Here's Mr. Magic by Grover Washington Jr. I was holding this in my arm and I was considering getting it because I had only heard the title track. I like the title track, but I didn't know if I should get the rest of the album. And this middle-aged guy walked up to me and he touched it and he was like, "That's a great album." And that was what compelled me to immediately rush to the cash register because I fold like that. Here's another jazz, smooth jazz. Mr. Magic's a little more. This is smooth jazz. Breezin'. I think I mentioned a couple times before that this sounds like Weather Channel music, and I mean that in the best way possible because I love this album. I just love the sound of it, and if you just listen to the title track, you'll know what I'm saying. It's Weather Channel music. It's like playing during the forecast. Great stuff. Here's Cat Stevens, Teaser and the Firecat. I got this mainly because I love the song Moonshadow, but the music video for it is absolutely adorable. It's just look it up. It's just so beautiful. This whole album is beautiful, but yeah. All right, so it appears we're entering sad indie boy territory here. So hide your Zoloft and unhealthy coping mechanisms, because here is Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers. I personally prefer Stranger in the Alps, but this has easily her best song on there, I Know the End. It also has Kyoto and Moon Song and all those on there, so that's a bonus. But that song alone made me get this album. Just, I wish I could sing like Phoebe. I wish I could make music sound like Phoebe. But I have this album, so that'll work. It's kind of got this from Barnes & Noble because I feel like every Barnes & Noble has this. I don't know why. Every time I go to Barnes & Noble, they have like 20 copies of it. Same thing with Igor by Tyler, the Creator. I remember being, how old was I? It was the 2020 Grammys when he performed. And he did, I was watching I think that was the last time I actually watched the Grammys. And he performed New Magic Wand, which I had never heard before. I had only heard of him because of Earthquake, because that was his big hit at the time. This was like right before quarantine. And I saw her perform New Magic Wand, and I loved it. I absolutely loved his performance. If you look up his 2020 Grammys performance, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I had never seen anything like it. I never heard anything like it. And that was what that's kind of what made me fall in love with this. So, and the rest of his albums, I just don't have them yet, but classic right here. That's one of those albums that's just gonna go down in history, in my opinion. Next is probably my coolest album in here. This is Endless by Frank Ocean, obviously a bootleg because official ones are like hundreds of dollars. Got this for $15. I thought I got scammed originally when I got home because I looked this cover up and all the other pressings had 2 LPs. This only has 1. So I was like, I just got scammed. I'm gonna cry. But before a tear could fall, I realized that they just put all the songs on one record and just put all the shorter songs on one side and then all the long songs on the other side. So that was kind of a relieving moment. I've also never seen this color before. I looked up different pressings of this album. I don't think you can find this anywhere. So pretty cool, if I say so myself. But yeah, the track list is not in order on here, but I honestly couldn't care less. I'm just glad I got my money's worth. Actually, more than my money's worth. $15 for all that. Pretty nice. Shout out to Half Price Book. This one was kind of what compelled me to start collecting records. This is Loveless by my buddy Valentine. Shouts out to my friend Zaina for getting this for me for my birthday. But let me just tell you guys really quick the funny little story behind this. So at the time, I only collected CDs. I'll do a separate video on this eventually, but it's probably gonna be like an hour-long video because I have so many on there, and I have some that don't even fit on the other side of the shelf. Now I'm gonna attempt to put this down. That works. So she insisted on getting me an album for my birthday, and me being the gentleman that I am, insisted on or not, but eventually she was just like, kept bugging me. I was like, okay, whatever. Loveless by my buddy Valentine. And I thought she was gonna give me a CD because she knew I collected CDs, and that was the only thing I collected. She went to Amazon and got a record. Now here's the kicker. So she sends me the picture of it after it comes in the mail. I'm like, you got me a record? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, how much was it? She paid $60 for this. And I looked, I could not find a single listing for $60. I'm like, what kind of I'm saying this in a very grateful tone. What kind of black market could you find this on? That's how I said it, definitely. And she was like, I don't know. I don't understand where she got this for $60, but thank you, Zaina, for getting me one of my favorite albums of all time on vinyl. It's a really nice, really nice. Very nice. It also comes with a bunch of different inserts of like, yeah. It's all fun and games in the shoegaze game. So. Another cool story coming for you guys. This is the Glow Part 2 by the Microphones. What makes this cool is that I got it from the guy who made it, Phil Elverum. My first concert of all time was Mount Erie, which is Phil Elverum by himself. And then I think the Microphones is him with a couple other people, but mainly him. And we walk into the venue, and he's standing there by the doors with a whole line of people, and he has a table with a bunch of records of all of his albums across Microphones, Mount Erie, you name it, in stacks, and you could buy them from him himself. And so I walked up to him and I was like, I love your music, and he was like, thank you so much. Really nice guy. And out of all the albums on the table, I selected this one. I probably looked like the biggest poser in Poser Palace, but I don't care. I absolutely love this album. And just the overall, it was a great concert too. He kept looking up at me while he was performing, so that was a plus, I guess. Great album. I recommend. I could have had him sign it because he was signing. Some guy went up there and he had him sign his hunting knife, so I could have asked him to sign it, but I didn't. But I was just grateful enough to meet him, so I don't know. Everybody was acting like he was just an old friend. Nobody was freaking out like I was, so I don't know. It's the Smiths. Queen is Dead. Yeah, this is radiating male manipulator, but I mean, it's still an amazing album. I don't care what community you associate with this record, or just the band, or just one member in particular. I just think this is an absolutely beautiful. It's just great. Has their best song on it. There's Light That Never Goes Out. That's just kind of undebatable for me. That's their best song. Yeah, just so much good stuff on this. I will say the Jeff Buckley version of I Know It's Over is significantly better, but still, this is just their magnum opus, I think. I can't remember, did they do Stranger Ways before or after this? Because I know Stranger Ways was the last one, so was it the second to last one? I'd have to look. But if so, they should have stopped here. That would have been like the perfect discography right there. To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick Lamar. A lot of people nowadays say that this is one of the, if not the greatest album ever created. And I really don't have much of an argument against that. This just blends so many things so well. Phenomenal album. Yeah, I do have to say the song I is extremely underrated. I love that song. That's just something I listen to, but you know, who doesn't? I'm gonna stop there because that album receives enough glaze already. Here's In the Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. Whenever I look this up, this is going for extremely cheap, like $15 cheap. So if you like indie, and I don't like using that word because it's so insanely broad, just like the word alternative, it's just, I don't know. But if you like this album or anything like it, and you want to start a record collection, I'd suggest start with this because it's so cheap, and it's also, especially the gatefold version, it makes you feel like you're in a saloon in the Wild West, even though that's definitely not what this album's about, but it's amazing. All right, here's where we get into the more old stuff. Here's Abbey Road by the Beatles. I think this is the anniversary edition, so yeah, it's not an original, but I'm gonna get to the originals in a second. Got it for $15 too, so that was pretty nice. Here's Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I am one of Pink Floyd's biggest fans. I love Pink Floyd. I live and breathe Pink Floyd. I am Pink Floyd. Here is, also if you saw my other video, you would know the tragic tale behind my copy, but you can watch that. Wish You Were Here. I'm still looking for, these are the only two Pink Floyd albums I have. I'm still in pursuit of the rest of the big four that I believe Pink Floyd has: Dark Side, Wish You Were Here, Animals on the Wall. Easily one of the, if not the best album runs in history. I don't know how they pulled it off. And then Roger left after Final Cut, which I still think is underrated, but that was kind of their downfall. Division Bell's still good, though. Damn, this is hurting. Here's Some Girls by the Rolling Stones. I had an original CD of this album with the original cover and everything. I think it had Lucille Ball's faces on it, and then she had him change it. So kind of a rare CD. And then I gave it to my dad before I knew, and that's like one of my biggest regrets in my entire life. I think that's gonna be the last thing I see when I die, just a flashback of it. Yeah, no, and I can't tell him because he's gonna probably sell it. So yeah, but this is an extremely underrated Stones album. I think this has some of their best songs on here. For the Whip Comes Down, Beast of Burden, Respectable. I think I've talked about how underrated that song is. So respect. We're doing heroin with the president. Okay, I tell you guys to get to the originals. Here they are. I got all these for $2. My first video is about that. Let It Bleed, Rolling Stones. Revolver by the Beatles. The song Eleanor Rigby is kind of what made me start listening to the Beatles more. And the rest was history, because at that point I'd only listened to Top 40 radio, so pretty significant song for me. Jimi Hendrix, Rainbow Bridge, original soundtrack. Pretty rare album from my understanding. It's going for pretty high. And it's also just, Jimmy could make the guitar talking foreign languages, especially on the song Polygap. I aspire to play half as good as he did on Polygap on this album. Yeah, I'm getting there, trust me. Here's Parallel Lines, Blondie. Just Go Away should have been a hit, honestly. It's a great song. Doing heroin with the president. Here's The Who. Who's Next? Again, got it for $2. I also have another Who album that I didn't get for $2, but I wish I did. Here's Who Are You? Still haven't listened to it. I'm getting there. And then I think that's it for my insane bargain buys section. So back to the regular prices that I paid for records. Here's Bob Dylan, Bringing It All Back Home. This is when he went electric and pissed everybody off. But this has easily some of his best songs on here. He was spitting bars on this. Subterranean Homesick Blues. Oh, get wild, hang around the inkwell. He also has a cat on the cover. I look up albums with cats on the covers literally every day, because I want to know what album covers have cats on them. And they never mention this. I'm like the first person to notice that he has a cat with him. I will be expecting my Pulitzer Prize at my doorstep in 2 to 3 business days, because I'm historical like that. Nobody mentions the cat. That's the best part of the album. And that's one of his best albums. Here's Men at Work, Business as Usual. If you haven't heard People Just Love to Play with Words, great song. Especially if you like Who Can It Be Now? It's got that saxophone going on there. This is just a really nice nocturnal album for me. Just night drive type stuff. Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, another essential album. I mean, when it comes to soft rock, and when I say soft rock, I'm being intentionally broad, because literally anything that falls under the term soft rock, this is the magnum opus, this is the standard, this is the bar. This is a perfect album, there's no skips. This is just a masterpiece right here. And it's also kind of universally agreed upon. I've never seen somebody hate on this album. I'm also trying to figure out if this copy is an original, because there's nowhere does it say it's a remaster or a repressing, but it's also in suspiciously good condition, so I don't know. And then these last 3, oh wait, no, there's one more. Van Morrison, Moondance. Into the Mystic, I have had on repeat recently, but I mean, that first side is insane. I don't know how he cooked up a side that good. 5 amazing songs in a row. And then the second side we don't talk about, but whatever. Then these last 3 were all, I did a vinyl haul video on Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? Every time I walk past this crate, I always like shift through and pick this out and I just like look at it. I don't know why, but I mean, it's a great album, so maybe that's why. It's a 70s reissue, but it looks like an original. I don't know, I just love it. I just love this. I just love it. Just love it. Billy Joel, The Stranger. Only the good die. That's what I said. And then, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last one. Neil Young, Rust Never Sleeps. I believe they did some studio overdubbing on this album, but this still has some absolutely spectacular live performances, especially My Hey Hey Out of the Blue. I have said this before, but I have to say it again in case you haven't seen the video. Neil Young sounds like Herbert from Family Guy. My hey hey, Chris, rock and roll is here to stay. Chris, I don't know. I just hear that every time I listen to Neil Young, and I imagine Herbert with a guitar in a wheelchair at a preschool. But that is my vinyl collection. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. I'm just gonna give you a glimpse at my thighs because, yeah, for free. I know, right? Look at this. Because I had the Office crate on here, and this was like, I'm not even gonna tell you guys what take I'm on right here because it's absolutely humiliating. But yeah, this is gonna hurt. But thanks for watching. I don't know how to do outros, so I'm just gonna stop the video.